Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm inviting Gary on here shortly. We are making this happen as we speak. Let's see if we can't get this going. All right, Gary, you're on.
Hear
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. You sound a little hollow.
Thanks, man.
No, I mean, are you, all right, you're basically, I'm just, it's asking me, right now, Google's asking me if I really wanted to do this, if I really wanted to go live for everyone. Um, let's see. So apparently, since everyone listening, we have not gone and done a live event. We are live, we are streaming. We need to give people some time to join us. Basically, Google's asked me, do you know you're going live, and you know you're letting Zoom do this, blah, blah, blah. So right now, I'm answering a bunch of questions from automated Google bots. Gary and I were trying to go live on Facebook. We are going to be talking about a lot of stuff, including I will be in person in Salem, New Hampshire, September 24th. That is next Saturday, not this coming weekend, but the following week. I will be doing a live event from 10 in the morning until about 1. It'll be a great time. I'll be at the American Legion for a second time at 6 at the it's the Post 63 in downtown Salem, New Hampshire. Old location. It's a great place. 10 minutes away is America's Stonehenge, completely independently of our live event. We're going to be going there. The wonderful owner, Dennis Stone, we will be walking the grounds. It's a 110-acre site. It's a whole nother thing. Love to have you come. There are tickets for sale on notaliens.com, and there are live video event. So you could watch it and stream it. You don't have to come, or you could show up, and there's a ticket for that. But either way, I'm almost done answering all of Google's questions. This would be a good time for me to look right at Gary and ask you how you're doing while I click off a bunch of buttons. How are you?
I've been really busy, man. Just recording tons of podcasts for everything imaginable, the usual stuff. Everything from Bigfoot, aliens, to ancient civilizations and artifacts and, the usual stuff.
Cool. What about, I guess we're going to have to get a producer for this, aren't we? This is what we need.
Producer, absolutely. I think we need a whole team, really.
Yeah, and I know that, I mean, obviously maybe now is not the time to talk to people about it, but yeah, we are definitely working on that. It looks like I am set. I just have to verify for everyone that the YouTube is flying. So it looks like we are. Great. So I'm going to look like we're actually on Zoom together, but the reality is I'm going to start saying hi to some people. So Michigan UFO. All right, guys. David, hi. Aaron's here. Good evening. Hello to all. I am so sorry, everybody. Gary and I, we're going to do this like so many times. And what we'll do now is get kind of going. I mean, and again, we'll give people some time to get in. The reality is, it's been a long time coming for my new book. It's the revised, updated color version, about 90 new pages. I was saying 88. I'm just going to say 90. Not Aliens has gotten a revision, and it's taken a small group of really wonderful people, including Barbara Charlton, to get it to where it is so that we could re-release it. We wanted to coincide that with my lecture event next September 24th. So like 8 days, 9 days, not this Saturday, following Saturday, live in Salem, New Hampshire. I will be there to speak live for anyone who wants to come and join us. It's really not really hard to get to Salem, New Hampshire. It's not too far from Salem, Massachusetts, which is where everybody wants to be in October, but this is different. And I'll be doing a 3-hour event talking about ancient megalithic history in reference to genetics, in reference to synesthesias, in reference to things that are a little more mysterious that may have to do with ancient biotechnology, stuff like that. I don't want to get too far into it, but it's not going to be about America's Stonehenge, which we're going to go do after that. And I know, Gary, you were going to be in the area that weekend, but you're going to be at a different event, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to a Bigfoot conference in New York, upstate New York.
Yeah, so that's going to be is there going to be an in the woods event with that? Are you going to be going to look for Bigfoot?
No, it's mostly speakers, stuff like that, and they're doing a Bigfoot call contest, which I'm sure I'll win. I got the best Bigfoot call out there.
Cool. I know a number of people have all had various activities in that area this weekend. I didn't realize September 24th was going to be like an important weekend. It's like global.
It's getting nice, man.
Yeah. Well, I come in, we're going to, like I said, set up and live stream Saturday. Most of what I'm going to do for the people online is there's not really a lot to look at. So I'm going to be streaming the slides and the voice because there really just isn't a lot to look at other than me standing at a podium. And for those people that are there in person, there's just not going to be a lot to it. So, beyond what are in the slides and the content and what we're discussing. So it should be really cool. But then we'll take a break, head over to America's Stonehenge. It's a 110 acre site. There are indications that this site is easily maybe over 7,000 years old. It could bump right up to the Younger Dryas or the Biblical Flood for those of you that care, or pre-biblical flood. And I spent a lot of June, which I think, we've talked since I went to Galt. We've done this.
Once. Right? We haven't done an episode since then, no.
Wow. So for those that do know, it was over a year ago, Michael and I, Michael from Dark Hour Paranormal and I, we did a short documentary. I did my first lecture there. So this is second year in a row that I'll be at America's Stonehenge and doing an event. But this time, I've already been there in June. We were filming cairns, which are very mysterious piles of rocks, is the shortest way to explain it. Specifically in Connecticut near Lyme, as in Lyme's disease. The town just loves that they're known for Lyme's disease. That's literally where it was named. And due to the coincidental fact that there is a bioweapons lab kind of off the coast in the area, and there is good indication of, whatever coincidences. So Lyme, though, has a number of strange cairns. And even in the early 1600s, there are letters from settlers, colonists that are writing to government saying, hey, local indigenous people do not know what these are. There's no stories. There's no nothing. Do you guys know what these are? And so it has now, after 400 years, there's a collective you have what could be constellation organizations on a hillside of these cairns. They could represent, pre-indigenous culture that was part of Clovis or post-Clovis. And they don't just exist in Connecticut. We filmed at America's Stonehenge in June. We went I went to Galt, the archaeological site in Texas. It was quite wonderful. The site has a stone floor way below Clovis that's at least 22,000 years old. And that is significant because it ties into Huitlaco, northern Mexico, where there's human occupation that dates back over 300,000 to 500,000 years. And I know the dates are leaning more towards the 400s, but even 22,000 is significant from a standard academic major archaeologist, Dr. Clark, who's one of the co-founders of the Gault site. The Gault site is worth visiting. They only have 3% of it dug up. It's one of 19 mastodon kill sites in North America. Gault is famous around the world. It means almost very little to Americans here. Also, it's not very comfortable because it's pre, there's the Clovis layer, which, everyone's supposed to come off across a land bridge. And then, so Clovis isn't supposed to have an abandonment layer with more occupation with abandonment with 24 feet lower. There's a stone floor that's at least 22,000 years old. And there are videos online that say, it's 18 or 15,000, but there I am on a private tour. It was Freeman and I and a few of his friends. I had set it up for us to go, and here we are getting confirmation from Dr. Clark that no, this site's at least the floor that they found is at least 22,000 years old. And I asked, well, is there more floors? And they're like, well, we need more funding, and we really should be looking for another site to dig. But we assume there's more, but they just haven't kept digging because the Gault site is in a floodplain. Mm-hmm. And so they can dig, they're going to dig. But I think the Gault site, and it being a mastodon kill site, so primitive humans and the cairns in Connecticut and the ruins that range through America's Stonehenge into Canada, I think they're all really related. And I'm going to talk more about that in a documentary that Michael and I are working on. And we're working on a couple other projects too. But that's what I was doing in June. And so the lecture, when I get to America's Stonehenge, isn't going to be about those upcoming documentaries. That's going to be for the documentaries. But for us to be able to meet in person next September 24th, next Saturday, possibly if Gary's not eaten by a Sasquatch, you could still swing in. I'm just saying, you're not going to be too far away.
I won't be too far.
I mean, upstate New York is what? I mean, from where you're going to be.
New York's a big state.
That's true. All right. So, in looking at the chat right now, David Martin was asking, has anyone ever found very old nuclear waste anywhere? That actually has happened. There's some meltdown in Africa. Also, some very weird ruins that show, of course, they were even featured on Ancient Aliens in the India. So also, what a lot of people may not know is Rex and I from Leak Project went to the Grand Canyon, which I still have not released video on that. I've done some photos, but I still haven't gotten that out. Can you believe it, man? That was like you and I was complaining about the G.E. Kincaid cave. I got there, went to the Navajo land, did it, and I still have not had time because of re-releasing the book and putting out TerraCore. I did not release any of the information yet on the G.E. Kincaid cave. I mean, you and I talked about it.
I know, for years, a year ago.
That was last June, July, something like that. So yeah, the question though, the reason I brought the G.E. Kincaid trip is because there are 600 open mining permits for uranium mining in the Grand Canyon and the Grand Canyon area. And Lake Powell, first and foremost function was not water supply for people, although it does that, but just for everyone to know, there is 36,000 tons plus uranium mining tailings in the bottom of Lake Powell. That's running out of water right now. But Michigan UFO Sightings was asking about the event. So Saturday, if you want to go to notaliens.com, you can get an online ticket. And then if you don't, and then you can stream the event. It'll be 3 hours. It'll be Saturday, the 24th. But then we're going to take a break and we're going to go to America's Stonehenge, try to talk Gary into coming. but Sasquatch won. Like a personal invite.
Bigfoot, man. You know what? Bigfoot might be connected
Yeah.
to
So,
the American Stonehenge. Like, what if that was made by Squatches?
right. So going to America's Stonehenge in the afternoon. Dennis Stone is just a wealth of knowledge. I have on my YouTube channel a 2.5 hour interview of just Dennis talking about cool stuff while we're sitting, like, from me to my lamp, one of the fault lines, major fault line in the area. It's just a crack with ferns growing in it. And they're like, yeah, that's the fault line. And I'm like, Murphy's Law. We're going to do an interview. And I sat there for 2 hours, half wondering, no, we're going to like fall into the crack. But the site has many astronomical alignments. America's Stonehenge, back when I was there in June, had a equinox event, and I was there for that at 4:45 in the morning to wait for that to happen. So I got to see one of the many 40-something astronomical alignments come up. It's an active archaeological site for everyone listening. This is a site that is always having some archaeological group doing something, seismic studies, LIDAR. Some of the first things that have ever been combined at any archaeological site in the world have been done here, about topographical layering of all the seismic and LIDAR and different formats of screening for ruins. There is at least one buried dolmen. The site's 110 acres, and only about 2 or 3 acres have been fully explored. But then, for those of you who don't know, an acre is about 45,000 square feet plus change. So it's a little difficult to dig all that up or get down to bedrock and sort it all out, because it was occupied in colonial times. So it's, I don't know. That's
Not
good.
to mention when I interviewed him, we were talking about possibly other sites on other mountaintops surrounding the area also.
Oh yeah. So it's bizarre how littered with ruins that are not indigenous, they are not local tribes, and there's actual colonists talking to their governments going, hey, the natives don't know anything about this. What is it? And they're like, don't know. They're old. And does that relate back to the Younger Dryas? And this, like, why is there this simultaneous pile of humanity where we have a city off the coast of Cuba that's at least 50,000 years old, because there's no way it was above water prior. But then we have Denisovan, Neanderthal, and a mystery human race, 2 to 3% genome, us, elongated skulls. We have all these people mixing genetically, and for standard academics, it's on the table that says, well, for some reason, all these groups were breeding together about 50,000 years ago. But really, when you're looking at it academically, and in my opinion, based on the evidence, it's not a leap to say, okay, well, the super volcano in South Asia went off around 75,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who was a survivor probably got pretty busy that wasn't part of the special group. And the special group were in those laser cut underground caverns and tunnels, like the one, we talked about, Buzz Aldrin and Eric Von Daniken. I mean, there's straight up video of them going, like, who cut these, who was living under there. And meanwhile, on the surface, you have all these different people literally having been catastrophically placed in the Stone Age. And so I think there's this parallel between a more advanced rise of, a smaller group that kind of hoarded technology for either because they had to or because they were just put in that position. And then you have this Denisovan, Neanderthal, mystery human race, humans and elongated skull people surviving. And we can see that in tens of thousands of years, and including the Galt site in north of Austin, through all these Neolithic, Eolithic piles of stones and fires and everything that predate, again, the biblical flood and post-biblical flood, but pre what we're going to call, or post Clovis, which is just a name they gave to everyone they think walked across a frozen land bridge from Siberia. And it's just very mysterious because there seems to be a more collective, maybe more primitive, but a society that's just surviving and trading and creating tools and industry with arrowheads and spears and just functioning together in groups and working. And it's clearly moving from, the Ohio's into the New York area and New Hampshire and north into Canada. And then it's going all the way to Central America through Galt and west and east. So it is really a fascinating area. And yeah, there's colonial influence. So if you go to America's Stonehenge with me Saturday the 24th, there are evidences of colonial people using the land and probably modifying it some way or another. But you have a lot of things that were left in place that just haven't been touched for thousands and thousands of years. And it's just fun and fascinating to go check it out.
Are you going to check out the snake wall?
Yeah, there's a number of serpent-shaped walls in just America's Stonehenge. And there are some other theories from Connecticut too. Like there's another author who's written a book that talks about thousands of ruins, that there are many serpent rising and falling. They're not just rising and falling because somebody took the stones. They intentionally seem to have like a head of a snake. They intentionally seem to have like they're slithering through grass or water. It's very interesting. There's a lot of personality. There's cairns and there's also chambers. We went to a couple while I was there. They very much look similar to America's Stonehenge. And these chambers they were used by natives and in that period, but they predate a lot of native populations. So it's very fascinating for those that can make it. Otherwise, watch online. That'd be cool. I really would love you guys to support it. It'd be wonderful.
You think those walls are any way related to like the Mayans?
Yeah, I
They're
think
like serpentine cultures.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I think Scott Walter, when he did America Unearthed, that episode about Mayan blue and about where did Mayan blue come from, I think there's a solid argument based on the stepped constructions found in Georgia that they focus on. And then also, here's a weird one. And it was, I thought very fascinating because I had wrapped up my book. I had not heard of America Unearthed. And it's so funny because Scott Walter works like 10 minutes from me. And so eventually I got to meet him through Dennis Stone at America's Stonehenge. And that was just wonderful. But the corollaries, it's so interesting to see corn as a genetic creation is not corn without the hand of man. You can't have, there's no wild, corn doesn't exist without it being managed every year by human beings. And they point out that in Wisconsin, there's an argument about the Mayans having made it to these green lands that may have been Wisconsin. And there's corn there that shows harvesting genetically for over 8,000 years. So someone was managing corn consistently for 8,000 years in Wisconsin. And so who was that? And where did they come from? And the theory is that they came from Central and South America. So that's I think an interesting twist on it. That's something people can watch. So I don't know, where are you at with the whole thing?
I think so. I think the Mayans definitely came probably all the way up to where American Stonehenge is. So I think, some of the mounds, a lot of the dolmens and other unexplained things that they found in the United States are related to their migration up north. And I just think that happened so long ago that the record was wiped out.
Yeah. There's a comment from Barry a guy, Chuck. I think that's they were talking about I think he meant CF Chaps. I think that gentleman he's talking about was originally from Minnesota. And I'm only going to stop and give a shout out because he had a great channel. I think it was CF Chaps. And that's one of the first times I had seen anything about the Galt archaeological site. And he has an early like 80s or 90s news story where they're like, yeah, it's 15 or 18,000 years old. And it's like, whoa, that's impressive. And that's how actually that channel's still out there. So you guys should all check it out. And also, that's how when I got there, and it was when Dr. Clark pointed out that stone floor in his current estimates is at least 22,000 years old. I thought that was crazy how far it had evolved even in like the last, year and a half since CF Chaps put out that video. But anyway,
the whole area too is fascinating around the Gulf of Mexico, because I think that the Gulf of Mexico is just a big ass crater. And it was probably all one large landmass at one time.
Yeah, it's super interesting because if it's a giant crater, you got the whatever the one of the many dinosaur killers like in the Yucatan. What are we doing with a pyramid city off the coast of Cuba that's at least 50,000 years old? I mean, if we could raise the sediments, like nuclear DNA sedimentary testing.
Well, I think there's a pyramid too that we found in the Florida Glades somewhere.
Yeah. And then one of the other things, somebody just pointed something else out about, the Michigan mounds. So there's mounds, Mounds View, Minnesota, Mounds, Minnesota. I do think that if we were doing more genetic testing, I'd be very curious how many Central or South American or what the actual mix of the genetics would really come up if we were actually looking at what was going on in any of the mounds that have not been excavated. And again, are they 13th tribe? Are they, Irish monks? Are they Viking? There's a million different questions, and I don't think we've had some really great honest answers on it, but those are good points.
It could be any or all of those, But I think that the population here in North America goes back way even further than that.
Yeah, I think it was a lot bigger also.
Yeah.
There's no way it wasn't. But no, there's nothing. I was going to say the mounds, the corn, the maintenance, there's a number of things that they just don't add up to the story we've been given. And Galt is so important because it's a mainstream archaeological. Senators have been out there. It really should get fully funded. They should really dig up more. But I mean, it's cool enough that they found a smaller female mastodon had been killed, and they were busy, carving on it when maybe a short-nosed bear or something else was come along and they left it and ran. I think the connections of these Neolithic survivor societies that were part of a, whether they were bombed, abandoned into the Stone Age, it doesn't line up with the ancient megalithic past to have a lineal existence. We don't have polygonal masonry and what appears to be frequency energy mixed with it.
That's sort of like my Atlantis theory, and the site of Port Poverty in Louisiana, where the circular structure sort of matches description of Atlantis. And Atlantis not actually being one place, but being 10 separate hubs of trading through an advanced civilization. I think that's also another possibility where a lot of these structures have come from.
Yeah, there's no way it's one thing. It's just not.
So I think there was like this advanced civilization, and then there was less advanced humans existing at the same time.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. Now, by the way, just to point out, Ellen Judge, do I sort of look like Nicolas Cage? Like for the 1 second stunt double.
You look a lot like Nicolas Cage, actually.
The irony is I actually go out and do the shit he makes movies for. Would it be cool if Nicolas Cage actually did want to get in our Peruvian expedition and actually like help?
I don't think he will, but I think he would play you in the movie.
Okay, guys. I will get things to a point where Nicolas Cage can play me in a movie. I think Gary nailed it. So there you go. Rex. Yeah, well, Rex. So yeah, I never did like face anyway. All right, I digress. So I gotta watch, just so you know, in order for me to see everyone's commentary, I have to go like that. Just if everyone's wondering, that's commentary. So I'm trying to keep up on that and for us to still have our chat. So that's the look-see over here. Movie magic. Well, you're gonna be gone from when to when for your event?
I don't know the dates, man.
All right.
But I know it's the weekend that you're gonna be at the American Stonehenge. But I don't know the actual specifics, which I should know because I have to take my dog to the kennel. So.
How is your wonderful, beautiful monster?
I think he's probably busy eating the couch right now.
He's quite a creature. So this has been really fun because I haven't had a chance to talk to everybody live. I'm glad people are watching. I know we were going to try to do this on Facebook. We're going to have to do some more events. We're also trying to sort out, Gary and I are trying to sort out a regular show schedule for us to do live every month on everything imaginable. And we could stream it on all these services, but neither one of us can successfully run OSB yet, or OBS.
I think it's impossible.
OSB. I mean, I don't know where I'm at.
Is it OBE?
Maybe that's it.
Wait. OBYGN?
No, or OSPF. Open shortest path first. How about we go with old internet protocols? Fine, make me look it up now. I even downloaded it. Let's see. Let's see here. Well, let's see. I don't know. The schedule we're going to do, though, you're thinking is once a month or twice a month?
I wish we could do it.
Yeah. Well, we're still going to record shows for people. The issue is, are we going to do more live events like this, only give you guys more warning that we're actually doing this? That
yeah, I mean, it should be planned, but tonight has been a bizarre experiment.
Yes, which I am perfectly happy of our failure and that we are now live and people are joining us. So I appreciate that. Of those who are joining us, just to be slightly broken record, I will be live in person at America's Stonehenge. That's in Salem, New Hampshire. That's the 24th. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I will be speaking for 3 hours in the morning, 10 to 1. We're going to take a break. We're going to go to America's Stonehenge. It's a ancient, mysterious site on top of a hill / mountain. There's 110 acres. There's also alpaca for those of you who would like to see some alpaca.
And those who don't know me, I am Gary Pezzolillo, the host of Everything Imaginable podcast, the greatest podcast on God's green earth. And I'll be at the Bigfoot convention.
Yeah, well, I figured everybody knows you. I mean, but yeah, for those on.
How did you know you more?
Well, we both kind of had to reorganize. And for those of you wondering what's been going on with me, I think it's a good question because I've gotten that privately here. Hi, Wayne. So I was at the Galt Archaeological Site for most of the end of May into June. So starting in December, It's Not Aliens, Worse It's Us started getting a huge revamp. And so rewriting that almost was as monumental as a task as putting it all together. But putting it together originally took 3.5 years. This is taking way less if you count that kind of length of time. But we I'd set up a series of events. One was the private tour of Galt. Then also Freeman from, Freeman Fly, Freeman TV. I went to the Dominican Republic, and that was a NFT Bitcoin crypto jeweler event at the Punta Cana Hard Rock Cafe. So I was there for a week. And then I spent the last 2 weeks after that, I spent the rest of June between Massachusetts, New Hampshire, America's Stonehenge, Connecticut, seeing those mysterious cairns.
New Jersey.
And let's not. No, my capstone for my trip. The last thing I did on this series was Gary and I got to hang out.
After like 2 years.
Yeah, weird thing. Like I have a thing that if we're gonna like do stuff together we're friends and we're doing, this hosting relationship together, where it's like, well, I think it's important to shake hands and meet people. It doesn't matter who you are. It just matters that we get together. So we finally got together for the first time at the end of June. And that was really fun. And I'm leaving out a lot what happened. And that's just 5 weeks, folks. The book refinishing has been going on since December.
Is it done?
Close. The rewrite's done.
Are we talking November?
It'll be ready before Christmas for sure, and not the day before.
Now, are you going to sell autographed copies from your website?
Yes. The problem getting the book in color, relaying it out, redoing the cover, it really was a tremendous effort. And again, like I said, a number of people have been involved, including Barbara Charlton, the EFT practitioner, and
who did the color?
The cover was done by a great artist that
Who did the color?
It's going to be in color.
So somebody had to color all the photos, right? Like pencils and crayons and stuff.
That's what it is. It's Not Aliens, paint by number and/or color by number. So yeah, it'll be like one of those detailed etch books that you can tweak out on.
I thought you paid an artist to actually color the pictures.
Yeah. Sorry, Scotty B, for not getting a notification. But yeah, we are definitely close to finishing. I was really trying to time it with the lecture next week that people could get digital.
But you promised by December.
That what?
You promised it by December?
Oh, it'll definitely.
I'm gonna buy like a bunch of copies to give out for Christmas presents.
Oh man,
everybody this year for Christmas is getting Not Aliens for Christmas.
Oh man. So all right. I will be getting physical copies. There'll be a digital copy. All of it's going to be on notaliens.com. So for the event on the 24th, and by the way, so I'm filming in last June. I'm in New Hampshire. We're in Connecticut. Michael and I, Lynn from Rebellious Ufology, we're going to a bunch of sites. We're filming, getting a lot of footage. But I'm also planning and have been working on that expedition that's going to happen to Peru. I was trying to move the balls forward on these documentaries, but also for the second year in a row, I really wanted to keep this thing going where the opportunity is for everyone to meet in Salem, New Hampshire, for me to do a live event again, for all of us to hang out and, be able to walk America's Stonehenge. There's something to learn every single time. Thought that would be really fun. But between putting out TerraCore, as you know, a few months ago, that was almost 40 minutes.
I love that documentary.
Yeah, you like it?
I love it.
That took a tremendous amount of time, and it cut into editing time. And like all of you out there know, I there's only so many hours in a day. And then we had I have a revamp of my website happening, and the ball got dropped for who I hired. And so now I'm starting over everyone on Friday. I realize it'd probably be better if I just tell everyone what's going on than not, but it was work really hard to bring you guys a better book, more exciting content. Gary and I have been talking behind the scenes about doing more live shows, because our recorded shows, they're going pretty well, right?
They're huge. Our recording shows are some of my biggest episodes.
They're what?
One of my biggest episodes, the ones that you and I have done.
Yeah. So it's really I just think it's a lot of us have been trying to, I think, you included, I think we've just been trying to move a lot of balls simultaneously. And it really kind of cut into what maybe would be more good. I got more good words, English, for all of us to do that, maybe a more consistent show where we can just talk where the process is at for everything imaginable and what we're collaborating on, not aliens, what we're collaborating on. I think it'll be more productive for everyone to hear what's going on consistently. And we've both, I think, been pretty busy trying to create not just a couple little inch improvements, but I think we've each been working on really big improvements to try to just bring people better content. So just for everyone out there, we're not, it's not like we're trying to not show up.
No, yeah. Well, I also got sick, so.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Do you want to tell people about that quick?
I was sick for a little while, but I'm back.
I mean, speaking of Lyme's, right?
Oh yeah, I had the Lyme disease, and then I had the pernicious anemia. Then I had COVID for the 5th time. It's just the usual shit.
So between that and what we've been doing, couple little things. I don't know. For those that are listening, watching, thanks for joining us. It wasn't supposed to be last minute, and it wasn't even going to be on my channel originally, but neither of us are Facebook informed. So Wayne can make fun of me later about that. But
don't make fun of me, Wayne.
He can
back you up.
Yeah, he can just make fun of me. But yeah, so so Freeman and I did a show that'll be out if you guys want to go over to Freeman TV. That'll be out Saturday. We got into a few things, including some national park issues and things going on. We talk a little bit about the Rainbow Festival, rainbow gatherings, and why they're so important to our national park system, which is supposed to be free to us. I had some
pretty. It isn't free. It's just a way to conceal what the government's hiding shit from us. So we make it into a national park and they make it off limits.
Yeah. Well, they should have. We should. If we heard the rhetoric, if we did a documentary and did the rhetoric of when national park land was set aside, it was supposed to be something for us to all enjoy. And it was supposed to be something that, we're all working hard.
I don't think it ever was. I think it was just all a way of them concealing certain, I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. It could be minerals. It could be Bigfoot, whatever it is they're hiding, or all the above. We put it in the national park.
Yeah, we obviously don't have free access to our national parks, but Freeman and I, we've been friends for a while now, and we got into it on for his episode this coming out Saturday. I'm going to leave it at that and just say that we did talk megalithic ancient technology stuff, but what's been going on with the national parks now. And I went to Arches National Park in Utah and did the 3-mile hike with the big 640-foot elevation change to go to the Arch. There's some weird stuff going on, and it's quite annoying, but I did 13 questions last night for everyone. That'll be out in a couple days. That's a really interesting podcast, and I should probably tell people more. Like Gary and I have been collaborating for, like you said, a couple of years, and we're pretty consistent on everything imaginable. We have consistent friends, and I mean guests that have become friends, and we cover a lot of things. I mean, it's everything imaginable.
Yeah, jump and check it out, especially all the episodes on the G.E. Kincaid, the ones that we did with Frank Joseph.
Oh yeah,
we've done with Richard Allen Miller.
There's so many good ones with him. He's such a character.
He's awesome.
And gosh, how many episodes are you at now?
Oh, I think up online I have something like 460, And on my computer, actually, I have like 480, so I still have like 20. I have 20 to upload. I have to upload one after the show.
You had me on, was it the 300th?
Probably 400.
I just liked when Gary got a whole bunch of people from around the world. He gets us all on to say, hey, celebrate this episode. And then he tells all of us midway through, oh, yeah, this isn't really that episode, but it will be soon. So I'll just record it now. So, Juju, you made us record that episode.
One of the most popular episodes. Those are great episodes. It's one where I just invite a bunch of people and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that was fun. And I'm sure for the 500th, we're going to have to do something more interesting again, right?
500.
Or like, maybe you should just do a
That's like really soon, man. That's like 20 episodes away.
Yeah.
It's like a week.
I was going to say, knowing you, that means we got to record in 8 days. Yeah, this is actually episode, 492, but it's 500. The time that we're going to have after the only scheduled lecture, everyone out there for me in person, is Salem, New Hampshire, the 24th, coming up here. Like I said, tickets, notaliens.com. You can watch virtually and listen, or you could show up. We consistently, after that's the 24th. So I'll be back, and I think Gary and I have plans. October is going to look, I think, very scheduled. There will be not a rush, but a concern to get the release of Not Aliens Beyond. It's been titled Not Aliens Beyond Prehistory. To get that out, the efforts are going to be made, because I'd rather have people to be able to plan for Christmas. So really want to try to get the book out in October, not
I need
November.
this book by Christmas, man.
Yeah, no, you're gonna.
I mean, my family is asking me about it. Right?
So I'm gonna work.
Where's Jerry's book?
Just Gary. I'm gonna do this strictly to get pressure off me from Gary. So thanks, everyone.
I'll text you every single day.
Yes, Scotty B. It is hard to burn the candle at both ends, but if you try really hard, you just, vortexing energy. It's an upward spiral for those of you listening. But yeah, there is a bit of a pace that's been going on. For everyone else that probably hasn't heard, I did just spend some time in Monument Valley. Took a lot of photos. Got to get on a horse, got to get really close to an Anasazi tomb, was able to listen to the echoing powers of the monuments that were miles apart with our Navajo guide. And it was brilliant. The voices were bouncing miles apart. A single echo, it was bouncing 3-4 times. And we were told that in rainy, if the monuments get wet at all, sometimes it can bounce over 5 times the voices. And it is truly eerie to wonder if at some scale, some megalithic society was using landscapes as sounding cages or organs or a wind instrument, basically. Super interesting.
Oh.
You ever think about that? Instead of Stradivarius designing a violin, he designed a whole valley. Like, what if some of these canyons and valleys were strictly designed to be musical vibrational instruments?
Wow. So the Grand Canyon could build a big didgeridoo.
Yeah. That's exactly what it could be.
That's what I've been thinking all along.
I think when you like the didgeridoo, you see it didgeridoo everywhere. I'll have to work on that one. But got to go on this horseback ride, got to see a bunch of film where Mission Impossible, where Tom Cruise is between the 2 rocks trying to move. That was in Monument. That was within visual distance of the Anasazi tomb. And it was across probably about a mile from us, half mile. But we got to there were Subaru commercials and the Wild Wild West with Will Smith. There was like, I mean, in the valley we were in, it's also where John Wayne filmed a lot of his love scenes, and other, I mean, there's a Henry Ford lookout. There's a John Ford, James Ford. Oh boy, everyone, the director that did a lot of the Westerns. Really stunning area. Other than that, the other event was the Arches National Monument visit. And then there's a few other things, but that kind of occupied 11 days for me up until Sunday night. So that also was a probably a needed rest, but probably poorly timed, because I'd really like to see everybody or anyone at America's Stonehenge. And I probably should have just postponed that trip, and we should have just been doing more Everything Imaginable episodes. And I should have just wrapped up the book. And I mean, we're close because the book has been rewritten. Now we're just doing the layout and checking the copy. So that's it, that we are at a very good place and a pace to get the book out. I really think we're going to edge it really close to America. I mean, my plan was originally to have it ready for America's Stonehenge, and I think it's just too close for that, but we're getting there. But yeah, I'm just checking commentary quick. Aaron's Energy 313. Yeah, Freeman, long time. What else we got? Since everyone is joining us, really appreciate it. I'm going to scroll back and just see if I missed anything, because we've been chatting. Gosh knows we haven't had a chance to talk about it forever. It feels like we've been so busy.
Got a lot of comments.
What was that? All right.
You lose me?
What was that? I was just looking. I just wanted to scroll quick for everyone. I just want to make sure I'm saying hi and checking in. Great thing about doing a live event, the whole point is for Gary and I to interact with you guys more. In this case, yeah, I'm gratuitously reminding everyone that if you want to tell people, that'd be great. America's Stonehenge is, again, fun thing. The actual live event would be great for you guys to show up. And more importantly, I really wish I could be sitting here telling you that the book was for sale. That was the deal, because I have other documentaries and things with some other people, and most importantly, my expedition. There's a lot of things to be working on, and it's not that I'm going to stop writing. It's actually the opposite. I have lots of things to continue on with. It's just that burning the candle at both ends apparently only allotted me to go on a few national monument, national parks, hikes, horse rides, travel to the Galt Archaeological Site, film in New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and then wrap up the book edits. I apparently wasn't able to get to anything else other than a few other activities that had to do with other work. So, man, not having Lyme's disease is amazing, isn't it?
I love it. I like not being sick.
Well,
but even when I was sick, I was still making podcasts.
Do you have any favorites standing out in the last few weeks?
I do, and it's not out yet, but I interviewed, I have to look up his name, but he was a guy from MIT who has written some books on like that Matrix type of stuff. Like not like they call it graphic universe theory, but it's different, uses a different word for it. Really, really a killer episode. And then I have one coming up in October. I have a guy, the guy who was taught neuroscience at Harvard for 15 years, and he was in a coma for 7 days, and has written some books of near-death experience. That one will be coming up in October.
Wild. I was on the Curiosity podcast. That was just out. I think that was Time's Flying. I think, was that Monday? I think that's coming out. Actually, also Curiosity podcast, Chris Jordan's show. He's a big near-death experience guy too. And I know there was
a lot of those.
there was an event just recently, wasn't there?
An NDE event.
Yeah. Wasn't there? Yeah,
Almost.
just
There's like a couple a year. I know the Monroe Institute has them and a few other places.
I could be doing Chris a lot bigger favors by mentioning the fact that he actually sponsored that event. So the Curiosity Podcast was one of the sponsors, and I thought that was nice. I think Chris is a pretty good guy. So yeah, just hi, Chris. In the meantime, I don't want to ruin the interview. When's it coming out? I won't get too far into the details. The one with the near death. I mean, are you releasing it soon or no?
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be out soon. I have to go in and see how many episodes I had, figure it all out.
Well, how often are you releasing right now?
Hmm?
This is us live catching up.
I've been doing about 3 a week now.
Yeah, literally now you guys are all listening to us
I
physically.
used to do 5, but I've mellowed out a little bit.
3 a week is so challenging, but
Not for me. For me, it's easy.
yeah,
When you're the greatest podcaster in the world.
Can you just change your screen title over here from Everything Imaginable to Boss?
Good.
Well, if you're are you releasing them in any particular order, or is it just more like how you're feeling that day?
Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays.
Oh yeah, but you're releasing
So
them.
as soon as we're done with this, I'm uploading tomorrow's.
All right. Well,
and I guarantee tomorrow, if you check Everything Imaginable podcast, you will not be disappointed.
oh yeah, no, Everything Imaginable. I mean,
because if there's anything I know how to do, is how to deliver an interview.
Well, for the people who are listening, as far as even the stuff we're doing on Everything Imaginable, how often of all the sites, I guess, where are people going to most to catch Everything Imaginable? Where are they downloading from most, or is it everywhere?
Apple, Spotify.
Yeah.
And my website, everythingimaginable2020.com. So tomorrow is William Peters.
What's that one on?
Hold on 1 second, I'll let you know.
For anybody who's not watched, again, there's a lot of co-hosting. I've been interviewed a lot. I don't think I tell you guys enough that I'm on Everything Imaginable with Gary quite a bit. I certainly mention it on other shows, but Gary and I have been working together now a couple of years. You'll find me co-hosting interviews, and we're talking about doing regular scheduled live events every month. I'm trying to get something consistent for everyone out there so we can have some fun and also do some information and news. Okay, so tomorrow's episode is actually interesting. It's like similar to near-death experience, but it's called near-death. It's called shared near-death experience. So what it's about is like when you're in a room with somebody who's dying and you experience what they're experiencing as they're passing away. Okay. Really cool stuff. Really cool. So I talked a little bit about being with my parents as they passed away, how the room felt different, the energy shifts. It's really cool stuff. Wild. That's going to be really good. Have you been doing anything with the remote viewing? I have not, but I actually have some good remote viewing interviews coming up that will be released. I did one with Michelle Freed, and I did another one with someone else too. All right. But yeah, I guess because I really want to like try to remote view some places like the Cave of Kincaid, Lost Cave of G. Kincaid, and also Antarctica. For anyone, in fact, I interviewed somebody recently who did remote view Antarctica. What they think?
they thought, well, they said that they basically described the same thing that Richard Allen Miller described.
Okay. For those that don't know, Gary's done the remote viewing program, and can you tell everybody a little bit about it?
Yeah, I learned how to remote view from Morehouse. Not his first name. Anyway, he's the guy who wrote this book called Psychic Warrior. And he also wrote the handbook for the CIA on remote viewing. And I've had him on as a guest a few times. And I took his course on remote viewing, and it was absolutely incredible how well that protocol works. And anybody can do it. You don't have to be psychic. Anyone can learn it. It's really simple. It's great to do it in teams, because that way, if you do it in teams, you can pick out all the common denominators and consider it, data, really good data.
What was one of the weirdest things that you got? You told me about some of the remote views that you guys did together. Do you want to talk about one of the weirdest ones?
One of them was a giant robot in Japan. And when I remote viewed it, I just saw like a bunch of gears and moving parts. But I also saw this yellow plate that was shaped like an M. And when he revealed what it was, it turned out that the robot had a chest plate that was yellow and shaped like an M.
What about the you want to mention the one where they gave you like a test subject and you didn't know who the subject was?
Oh yeah, and the subject was me.
How did that
It
feel?
was weird. It was almost disturbing. It was really uncomfortable.
That's so weird.
It is weird.
But I don't think people, for those that didn't catch it, the guy you learned directly from for remote viewing wrote the CIA handbook.
Yeah. What was his name again? No, last name was Morehouse. I'm so bad with names.
It's so funny. Gary learned remote viewing from the guy who wrote the handbook for remote viewing.
David Morehouse.
And so this is basically the men that stare at goats, right?
Yeah.
Only it wasn't goats, it was dogs. Right?
Yeah, this is the guy.
There's a lot of things that we should probably start telling people, because I know this is my channel, but we're streaming it. And I do think that people need to know that there's a vast amount of subject matter that Gary's covered independently and we've covered together and have talked about covering. Like that's the only reason I went to the G.E. Kincaid cave, because it came up in the middle of me planning a different expedition. And then Gary and I were talking about it, and I finally said, that does it. I'm just going to go.
Well, Frank Joseph helped us a lot with that too. He was like the expert on it.
Yeah. And it's like, nobody ever goes to the Quagunt Rapids at the right mile marker and actually just look over the damn side, for criminy sakes. Nobody would photograph it. It was easier to say that it was maybe there than it was to like actually go there and like prove it, don't prove it, sort it out. And that's what we ended up doing.
Still got to go back and do it.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know, there's a lot of things that we're going to do over the next few months. For everyone, we are certainly not out of the game in any capacity, nor am I. It's just been communicating with everyone. Was supposed to be from a new website 4 weeks ago. It was supposed to be up and running. All the podcasting downloads, catchers, whatever I was doing with everything imaginable. I mean, it was supposed to be easily scheduled and communicated on my website. And that didn't happen. That person dropped out, and I'm back at square one. And then this live event's coming up. At Salem, New Hampshire, the 24th. You can get tickets on notaliens.com. But this, our regular schedule with everything imaginable, everything else that we're going to do live throughout the month. I'm certainly still on Dark Hour Paranormal. Gary, you got other people collaborating with everything imaginable. How's that going?
It's going. slow, but it's going.
Good. I feel less behind when you say that.
You know, we all have to work, a lot of us have to work day jobs too.
Right. So with all of your listeners' helps, hopefully we can get to a different place on that. Is there anything else we should cover this episode, or are you pretty much good?
I'm good, man, because I gotta get going and then I have to edit.
Yeah. So neither of us are done tonight. I am actually going to be moving into book edits, still making some final arrangements for America's Stonehenge. And as you guys just heard, there's a lot on the table. Please, if you've just come in late, re-listen to the episode. There really is a lot going on. It's everything from new shows Gary and I are going to do, new documentaries, actual expeditions, more live speaking events besides Salem coming up on the 24th. There's a lot of cool stuff we're up to, and there will be, hell or high water, a new website that I will have. I have a meeting, I have a physical in-person meeting tomorrow for a local group, to try to handle what I have not been able to handle now in apparently 5 months. So after the last 7-week ball drop by this last designer, we're going to see how this goes. So thanks everyone for joining, and stay tuned. I will definitely give you guys more than a 5-minute warning the next time we do a show.
Yeah, we'll do 10.
Yeah.
Why not?
10 days.
No, 10
We'll
minutes.
really do it.
I think 10 minutes should be more than enough.
You know what, Gary, before we go, I'm going to say for Michigan UFO sightings, for Wayne, you should totally, you guys should hook up about the remote viewing. So I'm going to set you guys up offline.
Well, Wayne can email me at everythingimaginable2020@gmail.com.
All right, then. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And we are going to step out, and we'll see you all soon.